Hello, my name is Terry Payne and the course is CE 5339 Statistics for Construction. Today I'm going to measure the height of randomly selected red apples. To conduct these measurements, a station was set up for the height to be recorded. Our measuring device, being a ruler, was set up in a stationary position with a flat table bottom also being stationary. The height of the apple was recorded with the apple sitting flat on the table from the bottom and the top of the apple being recorded as the height in inches. The stem of the apple was not considered during these measurements, and the apple was spun around until the tallest point was found and was considered to be the height. The measurement was taken from an eye-level position for each recording and was also done without replacement. Here is our data that we collected in inches after each recording of the randomly selected apples. None of my data points appear to be an outlier. A slight problem when collecting the data was finding the tallest point of the apple and determining which point would be selected as the height. From the ruler, all fractions were also converted to decimals for easier recordings. Since the sample was random and the sample size is less than 10% of the population without replacement, and we also have no clear outliers of the data, we can assume nearly normal distribution. We'll start with the calculations of finding the t-confidence interval for the mean. We begin to find the degrees of freedom, which is 14, or n minus 1. With this, we sum the samples and divide by n, which gives us our sample mean, or x bar, as seen in number 1. With these two things, we can do our calculations, as seen in number 2, to find the standard deviation. In this case, it's 0.015. And with our formula for standard error, we can use our standard deviation, our sample size, as seen in number 3, and we calculated a 0.04 standard error. We will now find our T star DF with our degrees of freedom and our selected 95% confidence level. From the chart, we can determine that T star DF is 2.145, as seen here, and we can now plug that into our upper and lower equations to find the confidence interval along with our sample mean and standard error. We find that our confidence interval is 2.59 and 2.77 inches, as seen in the bottom of this slide. And based on our calculations and the data recorded, we can be 95% confident that the average height of red apples is between 2.59 and 2.77 inches. And some recommendations to make this better: we can use a caliper or a different measuring device to gain more accurate readings for the height. And we can also use a larger sample or from different places as well to help randomize this process. And we can also use a perfectly flat surface rather than a table.